everybody, it is Dr. Lepore, and this is the second part of the lesson 4 video. So I wanted to talk about identifying and writing about your experience capital, telling your STAR stories. So in the first module, it started off with the word STAR, and I made the joke that, it's like being in elementary school and getting a gold star, but that is not what we're talking about here at all. Okay, so why don't we jump in? So there was a study, and 93% of employers agreed that if you could demonstrate that you can think critically, communicate, what happened? I clicked the wrong thing. Think critically, communicate clearly, and solve complex problems. That's more important than your major. This is actually a really big deal. So most employers care more about these 3 abilities than they do about the major you chose as an undergrad. That makes a lot of sense, though, if we think of an undergrad degree and what you're studying as packing your suitcase for your lifelong career, right? What are the skills and the values and the knowledge that you're taking with you? You could have 3 people doing the exact same job in 3 very different ways, but if they can think, communicate, and solve problems, that's really what's important. I'm going to guess that right now in 2020, it's even more important. Okay, so the good news is you have skills. Now you might be sitting there going, I don't have any knowledge or values or skills, but actually you do. And they can fit on your resume or in your cover letter. One of the things to think about is what are the projects that you've done, the presentations that you've done? Can those be tailored or shown off as evidence of those 3 core skills: communication, problem solving, and thinking? Have you ever led a group process or a group project in the classroom or outside of it? I've had students who've done some amazing things, gone to competitions. Do you have any of those? Have you ever had to analyze complex information for a class? Have you done a podcast, made a film, developed PowerPoints, created charts, write essays, or given feedback? I know you've done all of these things, but what parts from your life can you bring in to demonstrate you've got those 3 skills? Have you ever done any work? Have you volunteered? Have you been involved? All of these are skills, right? But it's going to take some practice for you to be able to tell the story well and not get bogged down in, well, in this class I took a test. Nobody wants to hear about that. What they want to hear about is, I built this project. I came up with this idea. I had this amazing moment of clarity. Those are the ones we want to talk about. So, career success is a lot of telling this story, but it also is going to kind of follow this pyramid here. So at the bottom of this, the thing that everybody needs, no matter who they are, education level or field, they need to have professionalism, which is, show up and do what you're told, and work ethic, which is, show up and do it well. People need to have ethics and integrity, and they need to be able to self-manage. It really doesn't matter what kind of work you do. Everybody needs this. Now, depending on what you're going to do, though, you may want to move up the pyramid here. You need to be multicultural. You need to have what's called intercultural competence, which is the ability to work across groups. Every group is different. People are bringing all of these backgrounds with them. It affects their communication in every single way, and how they work in a team or how they lead, how they solve problems, how they think. We really need to be able to work with people who do not look or sound or think like us. Right? And in fact, knowing this is probably one of the key career skills, because a team is kind of boring and really doesn't get a lot done if everybody's exactly the same. We need diversity. Okay? Once you get through this piece here, you start thinking about your career-specific skills and hands-on experiences. So the first level at the bottom, hopefully you started developing these things in high school, right? The second one's these critical thinking and communication and teamwork. A lot of this is coming in your college experience, and even just the experience of being an adult. Now, as we move through our majors to higher level courses that are more major specific, you might start picking up some career specific skills and hands-on experiences. Um, but you're also going to do that through organizations, trainings, webinars, certifications, internships, and more. So once we have this kind of foundation in place, we start wanting to specialize. And one of the things that I've seen students do is try to specialize too early. Specializing the first day you walk into college, if you're not in a practical degree, and you know what, if you are in a practical degree too, but specializing too early leaves you missing an entire world of experiences. Okay? So I would usually put this as later on when we have a foundation. Specializing is great, but in the beginning, we should be really honing in on those top skills that employers want, regardless of what our major is. And a lot of this, I mean, think about yourself. Have you always known the major you wanted? I mean, I know I didn't. I graduated from college still going, I don't know what I'm going to do with this major. And you know what? I ended up using my minor. No regrets, not a single one. All right, once we've got these career specific skills, we start to think about career management. What do I do to keep myself where I am? How do I continue to skill? So I was in IT for the first, 10 years of my career. And then I ended up teaching writing and research, which I absolutely love to teach, and doing research and writing as well. Um, but I lost some of my technology skills. How do you manage your skills? What is your plan to stay in it? The good news was I stayed current enough that I can gain it. So even though lots of stuff has happened in data science and data management, and I am so not qualified to go out as a data scientist right now, I can get there if I'm willing to put the hard work in. All of these together lead to career success, but one of these without the other isn't going to help you very much. Okay? Not if you are looking for a robust, lifelong career as opposed to a series of jobs. Remember, jobs are what feeds the belly. Careers are what feeds the soul and the mind. So what does your skill stack look like? Think about it. Maybe even draw this pyramid out. Print it out right next to it. Write in what you have and maybe what you need. Okay? Because one of the things that you might need to do this semester is identify organizations, clubs, activities that are going to help you build some of these competencies. So early on, I mentioned STAR. Okay, so here's where STAR actually comes from. When we want to talk about our accomplishments, we want to use a STAR or PAR format. So a STAR format is I describe a situation and the task that I did, and the action that I took, and the result of it. And PAR is here's the problem, here's what I did, and here's the results of it. This is a way of demonstrating what you can do as opposed to say, I'm a good communicator. You can actually say, the organization, was having a problem communicating with membership. So this is what I did, and this is how it resulted. Now, obviously, bullet points, you're going to have to make them much shorter. But I found writing in long form helps me to come back and clean it up and make it ready for a resume. We all have these accomplishments, and we want to put it in this natural idea of problem, action, result, or situation and task, action, and results. And we're going to practice these. So I want you to think about it. Describe a problem that you worked on. This doesn't have to be in a job situation. I mean, I had a student who was helping out, his mother worked in a township and they were having a problem getting information out. So he worked on their social media. That is a success. So you describe the problem. The problem was people could not get information about services that were being offered, right? He recommended these actions. They took these actions, and then this is the result they got, okay? So this is something to refer to when you're trying to set up one of these statements. Describe your problem, why you took the action, and show your understanding of how this fits. And we're going to fit these into our resume. We don't want to write that, I answered phones. Okay, and, right? No, you served customers by managing the phones and resolving their situations or referring them where they needed to be. Okay, bigger picture items here. Okay? So some words you might like to use for this are in effect, right? I'm sorry, here's ineffective, responsible for, worked with, handled, learned to, assisted, effective, led, managed, analyzed, partnered, coordinated, processed, drove, right? They're things that tell what you did and the tools that you used. Just a little change in language makes a huge difference. So don't worry about this left side, worry about the right. Right? Results should give as much detail as you can, especially with quantifying and numbers. Sometimes you can't. But don't say interviewed people, interviewed 5 people. Served customers, served between this and this. Right? You can't do this for everything, and it's not needed for everything, but sometimes. And sometimes you can even describe what you created and presented. So, for instance, social media, 100 social media posts, which drove over 2,000 people to the website, is hugely impressive for a municipal building. Right? Start thinking about your life in these terms when we have to put it down on paper. So here are some real examples. We had a student working as a peer leader, assisting, overseeing, and living with an on-campus housing community of 50 to ensure safe, productive, comfortable environments. Right? We got the what they did, why they did it, and the result. Advise coworkers and customers to resolve disputes by presenting and suggesting positive solutions to gain further sales. Again, we can see what they did. Okay? Here's other examples. This is what we had to do. Here is what I did. And here is how this worked out for me. And believe it or not, employers know you're a college student. They expect you to live a college life, right? And that is okay. You want to get in the habit, though, of assessing your work in this way. Situation, task, problem, action, result. We'll talk about that over and over again, but start thinking. So you're going to be doing a practice activity now, where you're going to think of a specific, where you used a strongest skill, something you felt good about. What did you do? Why did you do it? And what happened as a result? How did you save the day? Or at least go to bed knowing you did well? Okay, so take a look at Canvas and get started on that. All right, I'll see you online.